Time for another update. Everything's going really well here. Thanks for sticking with us and praying for us and finding out what's going on. Specifically, pray. We had a good night. We slept well. Zachary did his normal stuff last night. He's getting stronger, obviously. I went down to get some exercise in my legs while the nurses were putting him into bed from a chair. And I came back, and they had a perplexed look on their face, and I was wondering what their perplexion was, and they shared with me that Zachary had pulled out one of his needles. So that's Zach. You know, when he's strong enough, he starts to get his own way. He's pretty simple, and he does. I told the nurses, yeah, he just did what everybody else really wants to do. And they just decided, you know what, he really doesn't need that one anymore. So we're not going to put a new one in. He has one left that is good enough for everything that needs to be put into his system. So he got his way. He got one needle less into him, going in the right direction. So we've had a good night, got some good sleep, started early, and woke up this morning around 7 o'clock. Definitely, Zachary is doing better. He has some coughing still. He had some coughing last night, and he has some coughing after meals mostly. Every once in a while he'll go into some coughing, but overall he's doing good and he's strong. I just had a doctor come in, Dr. Michael, and a nurse come in and ask if it would be okay with me if we took Zachary out. The nurses took Zachary out. It's really sunshiny out there. It's clear skies, but it's very, very cold. It'll be around just under 30 degrees when we go out there. We've got coats and sweatshirts and sweatpants and shoes and everything, and we haven't been out of here obviously in almost 3 weeks, so a little fresh air I think would be really great for Zachary. And this is the first time that the nurses haven't been just slammed with a bunch of people here, is what I was told, and that they actually have extra time that they can actually help Zachary get outside and get some fresh air and sunshine. So looking forward to that. That'll be a great part of the day today on a Saturday. So really looking forward to that. Yesterday I brought in a bunch of coffee mugs for the team here, for the nurses and the doctors, just as a thank you note and something they can remember us by, because we've been here quite a while, and I just really appreciate the amount of effort and love and kindness they've put into us. You know, you can get people to come to their job and just do their job, but to actually have them put their heart into it is something extra you can't pay for. And all of them have just shown up and just poured their hearts into us. And it's just been such, you know, in the middle of a very difficult situation, they have been such a breath of fresh air in helping out. And they've really done everything they can, trying to juggle all their other patients. Actually, this floor has been slammed with patients at the same time, super sick ones, near-death ones. Obviously, it's ICU, but more intense than normal. And I guess things are slowing down for them, which is great. So each one of them, as they came in, I said, make sure that you get your mug. And I also just thanked them, genuinely thanked them for being a part of the team to keep Zach from dying, that they helped him to live. And every single one of them so far replied back, well, it's my job. And yeah, it is their job. You know, they're nurses and doctors. It is their job, but they don't have to do it with the heart that they're doing it with. That's not in the job description. You would hope that's true, but it's not always true with the, you know, we all know some of us have jobs that we don't like, but I like the attitude, and that is what Christ commends. I wanted to talk about that, about how we do things, and how it's not about just doing our job, It's having an attitude of, yes, we're just doing our job. That's true. But what is our job with Christ? These nurses and doctors have a job that they get to do professionally, what Christ talks about here to be doing. But some of us have other jobs where we might have to exercise a little bit more to find a thoughtful way to do as Christ has shared with us to do, the type of things that really are what the kingdom of heaven is all about. So I have two scriptures here to talk about how to deal with the right attitude of it's my job. The first one is in Matthew chapter 25, starting in verse 31. It says, "When the Son of Man, which is Christ, comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats." So sheep are supposed to be more easily led than goats. "And he will place the sheep on his right, but the goats on the left. Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did you see a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?' And the king will answer them, 'Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me.'" So this is an important passage because it shares with us how we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. When we're down and things are going terrible for us, we like people to show up for us and to help us out. And in the same way, we're supposed to do the same thing for other people. So if you're finding yourself kind of locked in and not doing anything, it may be good to, pray to ask Father your part of what you can do to, really love your neighbor as yourself, to find a way to love your neighbors as yourself. Some people are not able to get out, and those people that aren't able to go out and do a lot of things for people, your intercessory prayer is exactly the same thing. There's so many ways to serve people and visit them in their states of weakness or poverty or imprisonments in different ways. Just an encouraging word, a small letter, a phone call, those things count. So definitely consider that. Don't just get stuck in just trying to live your life and try to reach out to those around you. The other scripture that really brings home the point for me off of, it's my job attitude that I got over and over again with the workers here, the nurses and the doctors, is in Luke chapter 17, starting in verse 7. It says, "Will any of you who has a servant plowing or keeping sheep say to him when he has come in from the field, 'Come at once and recline at the table'? He will not rather say to him, 'Prepare supper for me, and dress properly, and serve me while I eat and drink, and afterward you will eat and drink'? Does he thank the servant because he did what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were commanded, say, 'We are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty.'" So this shows us an attitude of not entitlement in the middle of our work. And knowing that we are serving, what we're being asked to serve is loving our neighbor as ourselves and serving God. And the one that gives us the pat on the back is God himself. And the people that we work for don't necessarily have to like what we're doing, and even the people we're serving don't need to pat us on the back. God will do the patting on the back. They should pat you on the back. They should be able to say, "Good job, you're doing a great job." But if they can't, remember that what we do is what we're called to do. And loving your neighbors yourself, if you're doing that, then you can have joy in what you do, whether people understand it or appreciate it or not. So these are attitudes that we can look at and try to unhook at the sight of what other people are doing. These people here in the hospital, doctors and nurses, anyone in the service industry, they do a hard job and usually get very little thank yous. And, you know, it's a sad thing, but they still come up and they still work hard on keeping people alive here at their worst when they're not feeling well. And they show up every day for years, doing it to the best of their ability. So if these guys can do it, we can train ourselves to be the same way and be able to hear from Christ when he comes to separate the sheep from the goats. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the kingdom that is prepared for you. Hope this finds you good, and hope you have a wonderful day. We're really excited. We're getting close to the end of the hospital stay and transition into the home stay. And we know God has it laid out before us, and he's got everything planned for how to take care of Zachary the way that Father wants him taken care of, and to continue to see miracles happen along the way to his glory. So thank you for everything. Keep praying for us. Please pray for the nurses and the doctors, and for everybody in the service industry all around the world. And if you're in the service industry, God bless you. Thank you for whatever you're doing. Thank you for taking care of your elderly mother. Thank you for taking care of your sick child. Thank you for being in the military. Thank you for being family of military. Thank you for, if you wash dishes, thank you for washing dishes. I genuinely thank you for your work. And I pat you on the back. Love to all.